Vita says, hi, Evan. So happy to be in your live Q&A. I love your videos. I passed my board exam with your videos. Hey, that means a lot. Let me pause on that comment for a second. So here's what Vita wrote, right? I passed my board exams with your videos. Now, maybe Vita has been all over my channel and left tons of comments and said lots of great things. I don't recognize Vita's name. Maybe this is the first time Vita's ever left a comment. Here's a message that if you can really feel to your core, will make a huge difference in your momentum and your level of purpose. We assume that our content is not reaching people and not having an impact. We see 30 people watch the video or 70 people watch the video and we feel like, oh, this sucks. Why is it not 700 people or 7,000 people or 700,000 people, right? Why is it not that next level? Where if you were to speak at a library or a Lions Club or YMCA in front of 70 people, you'd be pretty nervous, right? It's like, wow, I get to talk to 70 people today. It's going to be, this is crazy. I better have my speech ready to go. It's better be awesome. And then just assume that for at least one person in that room, it's going to be a life-changing message that you have. I haven't heard from Vita before. And here's Vita saying that my videos helped Vita get through the board exams, right? Where we default to assuming that our stuff is not reaching people and is not having an impact because not many people saw it. Why not assume that for at least one person, it's a life-changing video for them or conversation with them? If I'm looking at here, we've had 195 people watch right now. I love you guys. For some of you, you have it on in the background. You're doing your dishes. You're in the bathroom. You're outside and you can't hear anything. You're doing a bunch of stuff. Awesome. Whether it's true or not, in my head, I'm telling myself, for one person here out of the 196, this is an important video. This will move the needle a little bit forward for that person. For one person here, it's going to move the needle a little bit forward. This video is really going to matter to them, and that's why I'm here, and that's what I do. So default to assuming that it's in those numbers, even if they're small, the 50 people watch your video, that for one person, it's a life-changing video, and you have to keep going. The other thing here that I want to, some homework that I think will really help is if there's somebody who's had an impact on your life, tell them. And this works both for people who are close to you or friends that you actually know in real life, but also for creators. Because how many times, and I'm guilty of this too, how many times have you watched a video or seen somebody's post and it spoke to you at the right moment and it had a big impact on you, and then you hopefully went home and did something about it, but you never let that person know. You never let that creator know. You never told them how important that thing was for you. And especially if it's a smaller creator, one of my favorite things to do is to try to leave a comment. If I'm watching a video from Philip DeFranco or Gary Vee or whoever, some big YouTuber, they're probably not going to see the comment, right? And I'd probably just message them outside of a YouTube comment anyway. But if it's a smaller channel and they don't have a lot of subscribers, and maybe they have no comments on the video, your comment, you saying how important this video was to you, that might be the difference between them quitting and continuing on for another day. Your one comment saying, thank you, this video meant a lot for me. Vita commenting, your videos helped me get through my exams. That might just be the difference between that creator quitting and continuing on. So I always love the comments, leave the comments, we watch them, but if you had to pick, I'd actually love for you to leave comments on smaller channels and think about who you subscribe to, whose content you really like, who's had an impact on you, and just let them know. Because they may quit. Tomorrow they may quit. They may be really down right now saying nobody cares about my content, and your comment could be the thing that lifts them up. I remember at the early days, my first video had 3 comments in 1 year. And it was my mom, it was my older sister, and some random guy. And every time I got a comment on any of my videos, like, oh, I got a comment. Yes. It made me feel like it was having an impact of some kind. So that's what I would encourage you to do. It's great homework. It's great karma. Karma is very practical. I guarantee it will come back to you. Put out more good energy, and good energy will come back to you. Think about who is in your circle that you're following. Look at your subscription tab. See who's there. Maybe even see who hasn't posted in a while. Maybe they're really on the edge of quitting. And just give them a little bit of love. It takes 15 seconds to leave a comment. that could be life-changing for them. Dulce, how can I start to show my daughter to become a strong, independent entrepreneur when I myself don't know how to be one? Okay, what a question. I have a son who's 12 years old, and I have nieces and nephews who we're very close to and helping raise. They do more of how you act versus what you say, right? So seeing you do your thing and go after your goals is way more important than any words that you're going to share. And one of the things that I think is really important, and I don't talk about parenting a lot, and giving parents advice is always a little tricky. So this may not be prescriptive, but something that I'm aiming towards. My belief is that when you hide things, hide your insecurities, hide your fears, hide what you're scared of, pretend like everything's always perfect, I think it actually does more harm than good for your kids. My thinking on this is, one, when my son goes and is dealing with the same things, I don't want him to have a complex to say, well, when dad seemed to have everything together and was so perfect, and how come I'm struggling with this? Right? Where they feel like they can't measure up because it looks like you had it all in control. Meanwhile, you had no idea what you were doing, right? Like you had no idea what you're doing. But it looks like you have it all under control. And so I think it sets up an unfair role model that they feel like they have to be perfect and they don't measure up. The second thing, which I think is even more powerful, is if you can show, and your daughter's still young, so there's still a lot of time, but if you can show your kids that you are afraid to do something, and then you go off and do it, showing that you're afraid and you're willing to summon the courage to go do the thing instead of pretending like you're fearless, I think is a much better message. Like if I'm talking to my son about Tony Robbins, like, okay, I'm really nervous about this Tony Robbins interview. I mean, logically, I know he's going to be great. He's the easiest interview of all time. He's going to go off and tell a million stories. There's very little work that I even have to do for this thing to have a great interview, but I'm still nervous. And, if you've seen me pace back and forward and the 2 hours leading up to the interview, I can't focus on anything else. And at the same time, I'm going to go do it. Like there's no world that I'm not going to go show up and do it. And so I think if you can show where you're scared, where you're insecure, where you're hurt, and not use them as a sounding board or you're complaining, but instead you're going to go off and do the thing that would make you proud, that would make them proud. I think that's extremely powerful. And if you can tie in service to it, a lot of times, especially as parents, we will do more for our kids than we will for ourselves, right? You'll do more for your child than you will for yourself. And so if you know that they're looking to you now, that you're scared and you're nervous, you will summon the courage to go do the thing because you want to be a good role model because you're doing it for them more than you'll do it for yourself. Chat Rick says, what brings you the most joy? Serving, helping, like this, this. I mean, feeling like everybody wants to feel like what they do matters. We want to wake up today and we want to feel like today is going to matter. I'm going to make something that's going to matter and mean something to somebody else. We are all built to serve. It is hardwired into us. You want to serve, you want to help. And so I get that in a lot of different ways. If I'm writing the book, if I'm making videos, this is one of the closest ways. I mean, the only thing better than this would be in person. Like, hey, I can hug you and high five you and see you and hey, how we doing? That's the only thing that's better. But this is direct feedback. Like we're creating live together as opposed to me recording the video and then seeing the comments afterwards. But what brings me the most joy is feeling like today is gonna matter, is gonna mean something. And I think that's at the end of the day what we all want. Roberto says, Evan, you practice mindfulness. Yes. So this is a little harder to give advice for because I am naturally present focused. I remember getting into a bunch of not fights, but arguments or discussions with one of my close friends who would always criticize me for having a bad memory. He's like, you have such a bad memory, Evan. You have such a bad memory. Like, I actually don't have a bad memory. It took me a while to understand what that was all about. I don't have a bad memory. I have a great memory. I just choose not to remember most things. And I'm living in the present, not the past. So somebody asked me at an event, how much time do you spend thinking backwards, present, and future. And I said, I'm 0% past, 85% present, and 15% future. So I'm mostly living now. Most days I wake up and I don't know what day it is. I don't know how old I am right now. I don't know. I don't know what month is it? See, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing next. I don't know what I did yesterday. I don't know what's coming up tomorrow. All that matters is I'm here with you right now. This is it. I'm here with you right. And I used to judge myself for that. It's like, oh my God, I should remember that. I should know what I'm doing. It's like, I actually think, no, it's better because I am only here present with you. That's it. All that matters is you and your questions and this time that we're spending together. And I'm sure you can train that. For me, that's more of a natural default that I thought was actually a negative. So I've had to learn to embrace that as what I think is actually superpower and positive. If you're going to train it, my guidance would be every time you catch yourself thinking forward or thinking backwards, especially to bring it back to present, which is where meditation can be really helpful, or any kind of mindfulness practice can be really helpful. This is also why I really struggle with meditation, because part of meditation, at least, is mindfulness. And part of the big benefit that people get from meditation is mindfulness. But for me, it's like, okay, this is meditation for me right now. This is mine. We are completely in the present moment right now here. I'm not folding laundry or doing anything. I'm only here with you. That's it. You're occupying 98% of my brain power and presence. That's it. So the meditation doesn't really give me much. I can sit there, but I don't feel any different coming out. So I've learned that walking meditations help me a lot more. I call them believe walks. So every morning I'll allocate 20 to 60 minutes where I look at my calendar to remind myself what day it is. Right? Today is Thursday. I look at what's ahead, who I'm talking to, what my activities are for that day. And then I just go for a walk. And a lot of times great ideas come to me. And I just allow them to flow through me. And then I go do some action on it. And so I find that really helpful for me. I think it's, for most people, finding some kind of practice to stay in the present is extremely valuable. Because being, even future is better than past, but even being future, thinking too much about the future, restricts current progress. Like, it's a big reason why people are not effective and not getting stuff done, because you're spending too much time. Think about it. When you think, if you're past focused, you're living a lot in regret. I should have done that. I should have not. Think about the past. You're not really that often thinking about how great a past you had and how grateful you are for your parents. And most of our past thinking is negative. I should have done that. I should have done this. You're living in regret. If you're living in regret, you're not doing anything right now. Now go forward. Most of the forward talking is not what I can build and how exciting it is. Most of the forward talking is actually anxiety and stress, that you don't know if this will happen, that you're worrying, you're imagining a million different outcomes that most of them will never happen, right? So that is not a great place to be either. So past is regret, forward is anxiety and stress. All you can actually control is the present. Like, what are you going to do right now? And most people are just stuck into one of those two things. So any kind of practice, whether you naturally already have it, whether you need to meditate, whether you need to go for walks, spend time in nature, Japanese forest bathing, cold plunges, like whatever you need to do to get the practice of present, will allow you to be so much more effective for the day and for your life. If you want to see an awesome one-on-one I did with an entrepreneur just like you, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.